On Tuesday, 21 DoGE staffers resigned from the department, leaving behind an unapologetic letter criticizing the way Elon Musk was running things. In the letter, which was obtained by the Associated Press, the former staffers said that they did not want to use their skills and expertise to, quote, dismantle critical public services. They wrote, "We swore to serve the American people and uphold our oath to the Constitution across presidential administrations. However, it has become clear that we can no longer honor those commitments. We will not use our skills as technologists to compromise core government systems, jeopardize Americans' sensitive data, or dismantle critical public services. We will not lend our expertise to carry out or legitimize DoGE's actions." Among those who resigned from the department were engineers, data scientists, designers, and product managers. 40 people have already been laid off from the department since Trump was inaugurated, but those were mostly non-technical staffers such as designers, product managers, human resources officials, and contracting staff. There was one engineer who was laid off with this otherwise non-technical bunch, and he believes it was because he was outspoken in his support of Kamala Harris during the 2024 presidential election. Of those 40 laid-off workers, the letter said these highly skilled civil servants were working to modernize Social Security, veteran services, tax filing, healthcare, disaster relief, student aid, and other critical services. Their removal endangers millions of Americans who rely on these services every day. The sudden loss of their technology expertise makes critical systems and Americans' data less safe. These 21 resignations, while they may not help the American people win back the services that have already been lost, will hopefully help to at least hinder any further dismantling of our existing government services. And you might be wondering, if these people don't like Elon Musk or the work that he's doing with DoGE, then why did they sign up to work in the department? Well, they didn't. These were federal employees, not elected officials, who had worked for the U.S. government through several administrations. These types of roles are nonpartisan and they're not attached to any president. They don't leave whenever the administration changes. Also, these employees had worked for the United States Digital Service, or the USDS, but once Trump took over, their work had been integrated into DoGE. The USDS was originally established during the Obama administration in response to the rocky rollout of healthcare.gov, if any of you remember that. According to AP News, the signers of the resignation letter had all previously held senior-level positions at large tech corporations, but they chose to work for the USDS out of a sense of duty to the American people. They alleged that as Trump was readying the White House and the country for his administration, the incoming Department of Government Efficiency conducted a series of mysterious interviews with USDS workers. They said several of these interviewers refused to identify themselves, asked questions about political loyalty, attempted to pit colleagues against each other, and demonstrated limited technical ability. This process created significant security risks. It was clear during the interviews that the people coming in would be in charge of various aspects of American government and American life, and they weren't qualified to do the jobs that they were about to do. It was also clear that they were in those lofty positions likely because they were loyal to Trump and/or Elon Musk. Elon Musk, for his part, said that many of those who resigned in the letter were Democratic holdovers who would have soon been laid off anyway, even though, as I mentioned earlier, these are nonpartisan positions. But Cordell Schachter, the recent and now former chief information officer at the U.S. Department of Transportation, put it this way: "Move fast and break things may be acceptable to someone who owns a business and owns the risk, and if things don't go well, the damage is compartmentalized. But when you break things in government, you're breaking things that belong to people who didn't sign up for that." In other words, despite Trump and Elon's belief that the government should be run like a business, the government is not a business. It's not supposed to be run like one. The priorities are supposed to be different. In business, all that matters is the bottom line, which results in more money for the people at the top, which presumably trickles down to the employees down below. That means that businesses are incentivized to cut costs and increase revenue in any way possible, even if that results in companies delivering a lesser product or service for more money to its customers, and even if that means employees get less benefits, lower salaries, and negligible raises. Businesses do not care about people beyond what it can extract from them, whether that's labor from employees or money from its customers. Government, on the other hand, is supposed to be all about people. It's essentially in place to manage money and resources in a way that it benefits the nation as a whole. That means the land, the wildlife, the infrastructure, and ultimately the people. The people pay into the system, which they are required to do, and then the people elect officials to manage those funds. We elect them based on how and where they promise to spend the money that we've already given them. And that's why we have different political ideologies. Some people would prefer money spent over here, while others would prefer it spent over there instead. But the more money a government takes in from the citizens in tax revenue, the better the quality of life is supposed to be for the citizens. If it's not, then people get to choose different money managers in the next election. The problem with our modern democracy in this country is that so many voting Americans are woefully unaware of how their money is actually being spent. Those are the people who think what Elon Musk is doing to our government is great, and they're easily fooled. Elon Musk can complain about bureaucracy all he wants because honestly, who is a fan of bureaucracy? It's the worst, right? It's probably the most viscerally felt frustration amongst all Americans, and it is nothing short of infuriating. If someone tells me that they want less bureaucracy and more efficiency, I'm all for it. Who wouldn't be? But that is not what Elon Musk is doing. And if you're still falling for his simplistic rhetoric, then it's because you want to believe that the richest man in the world is, for some reason, looking out for you when all he's ever doing is looking out for himself. You don't become the richest person in the world without first being the most selfish person in the world. And for those of you who think that Elon isn't doing any of this for his own financial benefit because he doesn't need the money or because he's actually losing money doing all of this, that is incredibly naive. No one needs as much money as Elon already has, and yet he's constantly seeking more. Also, the money he's about to make off of all of these tax cuts that he's giving to himself, essentially, not to mention the money he's already made since Trump was inaugurated, will more than make up for any of the drops in his Tesla stock price. The reality is that we've got Pinky in the Brain running our government right now, and for all of us who grew up watching these cartoons and reading comic books, how come it has taken us all so long to recognize a villain when we see one? As for the administration's response to the resignations, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had this to say: "Anyone who thinks protests, lawsuits, and lawfare will deter President Trump must have been sleeping under a rock for the past several years. President Trump will not be deterred from delivering on the promises he made to make our federal government more efficient and more accountable to the hardworking American taxpayers." All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.